Because it's the hardest part of the ring. Hey, it's the hardest part of the ring. Sometimes you go over the top rope and you bang your head on the ring apron. Why do you do that? That's when you feel like a big dope. Hey, they're the worst bumps you can be taking. Oh, it's the hardest part of the ring. Hey, it's the hardest part of the ring. Two more. Sometimes you reach out for the hot tag and you go ahead and make your own comeback. Knock it off. That's when you should quit wrestling and you're better off rolling in thumbtacks. It's the hardest part of the ring. Hey, it's the hardest part of the ring. One more. Sometimes you're distracting that referee and the babyface he has your wrestler pinned. Then you get punched in a ring apron, and you realize all the trouble you're in when it's the hardest part of the ring. Hey, it's the hardest part of the ring. Now double claps. What's going on, Bob Squad? We are back again with another not-so-action-packed edition of reviewing the Hulu edition of WWE Monday Night Raw. It's the hardest part of the ring. The hardest part of the ring. Ba-da-ba-da-boo-ah-ooh, yay. What is going on, Bob Squad? We are bushwhacking our way through another episode of the hardest part of the ring. Talking about the October 18th, 2021 Hulu edition of WWE Monday Night Raw with not limited enough commercial interruption. I don't think any of those commercials would have happened had wrestlers not continued to do dives to the outside of the ring, because that always seems to be the point at which we definitely have a commercial. And they think their audience is so stupid as to never notice this. They notice. No, they don't. They're just stinking of nachos, holding up signs and row WW. And trust me, there is no E. There's no entertainment back in row WW. It is just WWW. It is the World Wrestling Row. There's no wrestling there either. Well, you can't see it from there. All you can see is a big TV screen with stuff on it. Promos you can see at home. Tape packages. Pre-made packages. So many packages. More packages in your face than if you were a midget on the set of Labyrinth. Hey, okay. I crossed over there to another podcast. Look what I did. And I crossed over to a different part of the Bob multiverse. I'm getting silly. I'm getting silly, you silly gooses. Geese. Let's talk about Raw. Any business to take care of first? No, I don't think so. I did the fun boxing with the land shark that didn't make it to Ireland, or maybe it made it to. I wonder if it got overseas. Did this land shark go around the world? I don't know. I never threw the receipt out. I gotta look up the tracking number. I just want to see where it went now. I just want a map of just everywhere the land shark went, chomping its way through all of mainland U.S. across the Atlantic and back. I'm getting silly. Okay, this will be a good one then. Good. It better be. We open a show with Hulk Hogan slamming Andre the Giant. Andre weighed 700 pounds, and Hulk Hogan broke 86 muscles in his back doing that, and needed back surgery. And then, according to every documentary, Andre died like a day later, which he did not. He lived for another 7 years, almost. But they always do that in documentaries. They show the body slam, and they go, then he died. Motherfucker, no, he didn't. Because they just don't want to show you. People forget Hulk Hogan. Wow, I'm really talking about this? Oh, my God. Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant fought at 2 WrestleManias. They never show or mention any clip from their match at WrestleMania 4. Did you know they wrestled at WrestleMania 4? A lot of fans today probably don't know that. Hulk Hogan and Andre wrestled the WrestleManias 3 and 4. Does that sound crazy to you? It should. It never comes up. There was a tournament, and they both got a bye. And then 2 years later, the Ultimate Warrior had the championship, and the audience said bye. Okay, are we done, Bob? We're done talking about the body slam hurt. They keep showing it. I'm not the one opening the show with it. Charlotte Flair cuts a promo in her underwear for some reason. She does. I don't know what the hell she's wearing. She's got a see-through leotard with her brassiere and her undergarments showing. And she's just there to cut a promo. And Bianca Belair cuts Bianca Belair, Eastern Standard Time. That's what the EST means, right? Is that what it is? Yeah. So Bianca Belair, Eastern Standard Time, is cutting a promo on underwear Charlotte, on Charlotte underwear, and basically Eastern Standard Time and Under Flair go back and forth. I'm going to call her that. There's some physicality. Eastern Standard Time tries to hit her finish, and Under Flair wiggles out of it and runs away. And they're going to wrestle later on in the main event of WWE Raw. Hey, that went well. We'll get there. And then there's an Irish guy, and he talks to the New Day again. He talked to him twice last week. And as soon as Xavier Woods is done talking about how he's going to be king of the ring, Byron Saxton says, "All hail King Woods," like a big dork. And Byron should never be. They got to tell him to stop cheering or championing the baby faces, because this happened like 5 years ago with Bayley too, 4 or 5 years ago. Bayley was really popular in NXT, and she came up to Raw and she had the wavy inflatable thingies and yada yada yada. And she was still pretty much well liked when she got to the main roster. That was in NXT's heyday too. So it was like a big deal when someone came up. And they didn't come up seasonally either, so it was just like, oh, okay. And this was a little bit before we were figuring out the lose the title, get called up pattern. So she was fairly popular. And her popularity quickly waned, and I really believe, call me crazy, because Byron Saxton would over the top jizz his pants for her and yell in his really annoying dorky voice, the inflatable arm, wavy, whatever, wacky, woof, buddy, whatever the hell they were called. And I thought he was such a dork. Like, I think he actually aided in the fans turning on her quicker than they did. I really believe that. And I think he doesn't do anyone any favors. Why is he there? Corey Graves, I liked during this match because he slipped up and he said Saudi Arabia, and that was hilarious. I'm not supposed to say that. Xavier Woods wrestled Jinder Mahal in a semifinals thing, and I honestly thought Jinder was going to win this, and they were just going to give us the finger because we all want Xavier to win this. So, and Xavier did win it. Match gets 1 billion stars. Oh, the UFC guy, what's his name? Something Smith, Joey Smith. I don't care. He called Ginger Mahal. I noticed that. You can't say ginger word, dude. That's our word, okay? Just so you know. Big E and Drew McIntyre are backstage, and they're agreeing to be buddies. And the only thing I liked about this was they both mentioned, I think Drew mentioned that he actually went and watched the tape of the show because it's a television show that is recorded and easy to find footage of. And now he realizes Big E hit him accidentally and he's cool with him. That makes perfect sense. So I was okay with that. But anyway, they're teaming up again later on against the Raw Dogs for some reason. Why aren't they called that if the Dirty Dogs went to Monday Night Raw? Call them the Raw Dogs. What have you got to lose? It's like a sex thing with no protection. There's no prophylactics. And they could win the match with underhanded prophylactic tactics. Okay, that one took it too far. Rhymed. It's the hardest part of the ring, you know. So Big E and Drew McIntyre, naturally, because they're going to wrestle in Saudi Arabia Thursday at noon on our time. What happens here? Oh, the baby faces won. I was not paying attention, honestly. This was stupid. This, much like Woods and Jinder, was a perfectly fine wrestling match. There was really nothing wrong with it. But it's just a TV match. No one's heart is in it. It means nothing. We're just getting to a finish. And this is an interesting part of the program. I want to put my notes down. Why? Because I was doing laundry. And even though I've done 125, 126 episodes of this, I just forgot to take notes. I put my notebook down. I like a half an hour, 40 minutes went by after this. And I went, I was supposed to be doing something this whole time. What else am I supposed to be doing? It feels weird that I'm just watching Raw. And I realized I'm not. I forgot to take notes. So, oh well. Let's see if we can think about what happened here. There was a semifinals Queen of the Ring match with Doudrop and Shayna Baszler. Doudrop beforehand she told us Shayna was an insecure bully. Hey, that strikes fear in the hearts of men, women, and children all over the world. What a monster heel that is, an insecure bully. Cool. And they have this match, and it's like 2.5 minutes. So someone online had a chart matching all the times of these matches, especially the women's tournament matches for this Queen of the Ring thing they're doing, which will be crowned in Saudi Arabia. No journalists want to cover the show because they're going to get their head cut off. But anyway, this is the semifinals. Doudrop beat Natalya, and Shayna beat Dana Brooke, I want to say. And anyway, the whole deal was all the matches, they're all so short. The longest one was 2.5 minutes. There were a lot of these Queen of the Ring matches on SmackDown and Raw that were under 2 minutes and all this stuff. And yeah, that's definitely a big, that's always a problem with when they start doing that to women's matches, give them absurdly small amounts of time. My personal preference, any tournament match that isn't the finals, or at least in the very first round, I actually do prefer those matches to be shorter. Does it mean the women shouldn't have a match that goes 2 minutes? No, that's not what I mean at all. Tournament matches in general, I feel, should go quick because we're just waiting for the finish. That's all we care about. And the finals can be knocked down, drag out. Hey, who's going to get it? Who is going to win 4 matches and who only won 3? Or who was going to win 3, who only won 2? And for them, it was kind of all for nothing. And who takes the big prize here? So if all of the men were also and again, Xavier Woods, Jinder Mahal, is really nothing wrong with him as a wrestler, but he's not lighting the world on fire. Woods is very good. They don't need to wrestle for more than 2 or 3 minutes either, quite honestly. But this is Raw, and we got to fill some segments, so they went for a bit. I want to say, I'm trying to think of what the break spots were. Hey, well, I did stop taking notes. So Woods won this. Oh yeah, Shayna Baszler and Doudrop wrestle, and Doudrop is big. And again, I'm not comfortable with this gimmick. I think they're making her like a jolly fat idiot, like what she just doesn't. She just told us with her own words, Shayna is a very serious, dangerous, deadly competitor. And as she's in the picture-in-picture telling us this, she's dancing and twirling her fingers around like a fool. You're about to step into the ring with a dangerous and deadly competitor. You just said so yourself. Actually, you're literally saying it at the same time. So why are they making her? And the only reason I included the word fat in there is because if you remember, Eva Marie gave her the name Doudrop as an insult, because I guess that's how she was shaped, is what they were insinuating, a couple months ago. Right? So Doudrop is her name born out of insult. So she's still continuing to call herself that. And apparently is nothing's registering because she's going to dance around and she just can't stop dancing and twirling her fingers around. She can't stop doing that. It's a disease. The Street Profits, oddly enough, who are on this Raw, little SmackDown action, making a first appearance in a long time, they have the same problem, but we'll get to them in a second. So Shayna's choking out Doudrop, and Doudrop after a long period of time. I think it would have hurt Shayna's finish for Doudrop to wait this long to do it. I really think if Doudrop did this earlier, it wouldn't kill Shayna's finish as much. But anyway, Doudrop eventually, after a long time, rolls back and just uses her size and her weight really to pin Shayna Baszler. So that's kind of why she won. Yeah, I see what they're trying. They're telling you, oh, look at this body positive thing we're doing. How she never outright says it, but she does go on media and on TV too and says, I'm happy with who I am, yada, yada, yada. But the way they're doing, they don't. Because really, it's a company of bullies at the end of the day. It's run by bullies. It's always been designed by bullies. That's all they know. So they're never going to do it. Just say she's a larger competitor and she's a wrestler and find something else. Because now you're making her the size of her whole personality. It's bad. It's so bad. But whatever. 2 or 3 months, Nia will come back and beat her, and then that'll be the end of Dewdrop. So whatever. Who gives a shit. So Dewdrop and Zelina Vega showed up from SmackDown World. She was already wearing the robe and a crown, which I guess the announcers have hit it home. Because subtlety is not a trait associated with Vince McMahon. That if you put on the crown and you touch it beforehand, you're definitely not going to win. And Xavier's the only one who hasn't touched it. And Dewdrop's the only one who hasn't touched it. Still in the tournament, so there you go. Woods and Dewdrop. Those are the people. Also, they're crowning a Queen of the Ring, and Shayna is the Queen of Spades. Charlotte is the Queen, so whatever. Just saying. Yeah, what happened next? Riddle and Orton, RK Bro, wrestle the Street Profits in a non-title match, and Riddle and Orton do a backstage thing beforehand. Their entertainment value has gone down. How did their chemistry get worse? Because it used to be so good. Somebody writing dumb things for him? Who needs to be fired? Like what's happening? So anyway, Riddle hints at the Street Profits, saying, well, they want the smoke, and of course they're always hinting at Riddle and Orton both being potheads together, which they kind of are. So okay. That's the thing with the Street Profits. So this is what I was getting to earlier. When Dewdrop can't stop, her whole personality is doing a little wiggle and moving her fingers. The Street Profits, because 2 or 3 years ago, said something about we want the smoke. I don't know what the smoke is. It's not supposed to. I don't think it originally was supposed to be a marijuana thing. I think that was just a one-off with Riddle because it fit. I think it was just some kind of slang that was hip for like a few months or something like that, or a year. Like, for example, Stephanie McMahon tweeted something the other day. I don't know what it is, and she used the word bling. Like, holy balls. What year is it? I heard the word bling used in the 2007 Michael Bay Transformers movie, and it had to be old then. So bling is probably, I don't know. Is 05 good? Can we just either way, it's 15, 16 years. So that's how in touch they are. So because the Street Profits at the time this is in 3 or 4 years ago. Angelo Dawkins, the one who doesn't dance as much, he's becoming more entertaining though all the time. He called someone fam because everybody was calling each other fam, I guess short for family, in like 2017. So and since then he's had to say the word fam in every promo. So in a year they go from being the coolest, hippest guys that all the young people like. A year later they're dorks because they're still doing that. So they're still saying smoke and fam all this time later. Anyway, the babyface Street Profits, and that's their whole personality, is just saying two things and doing a dance. So the Street Profits come out and they have their fake cup with nothing in it. So you have 3 NXT guys, Riddle, the Street Profits, and then Orton. And he was a fish out of water in this match, and he barely wrestled it. He got what we're going to call the hot tag, even though it's 2 babyface teams. But no team really took the heel role, because before we went to the break, I think Montel did a big dive. Because Riddle did a dive, Montel did a dive, went to break. And I guess, Orton tag, I guess. He comes in, they're bumping their feet in for him, but nobody was getting any heat on anybody. So I don't know what the hell they're talking about. Montel Ford did this twice, and this is going to get beat out of him. I don't think anyone was watching him on SmackDown. He did this over-the-top silly sell twice, and it was unfunny both times. So the first time he get away with it. He took a big move from Riddle. Riddle had him in that gut wrench, and he spun him around, kind of like Cesaro does, exactly like Cesaro does with the swing. He spun him around like 10 times or whatever, and does like a gut wrench. And instead of Montez selling the gut wrench suplex, he takes the pump, then he sits up, and he's counting 1, 2, 3 on his fingers, like his fingers are blurry, and he's trying to see them. And it might have been amusing for a second, but he did it for like 10 seconds, and Orton's glaring at him. And then later, Montez is bumping like crazy for Orton, and Montez does the exact same joke, because I'm not going to call it a sell. He does the exact same joke again. I forget what move it was. It might have been that DDT where the guy's standing on the apron, hardest part of the ring. It might have been that real quick power slam. One of them fucking things. I really don't remember. But Orton's about to hit his finish. AJ Styles comes up from behind. Omos is the distraction. AJ does the springboard, does a DQ. Omos beats up everybody. Okay. I remember that. Prince, what the hell? Finn Balor. I almost said Prince Balor. No, I wouldn't be wrong. Finn Balor beat one of the Reckoning guy with the dreadlocks, and then he stared at Xavier Woods, and Finn Balor took the scepter out of Woods' hands, but Woods never touched the crown. He just touched the cape and the scepter. And Kofi Kingston broke him up, and that was that. Both the Woods and Finn and Zelina Doudrop had the exact same stare down right by that stage thing, so we can see the stupid stage they built by the crown and the throne and everything else. Why does everyone, every time they do this tournament, the winners now, have to literally be a king as part of their gimmick? Nah, it doesn't make any sense. You can drop that part of it. I don't know. Everything's so goddamn literal. They're not royalty. And isn't it offensive that they kind of jokingly develop British accents here and there? Like, isn't it? I don't know anymore. That's the least of the problems of the show. I can't remember anything else happening on the show except the main event, so we're going to go there. What happens? Okie dokie. Let me take a sip of water because I just remembered. It's Bianca Belair, Eastern Standard Time, versus Charlotte Under Flair for the Raw Women's Championship. Under Flair is defending it. 1 second. That is good water. It's good water. Okay. So Charlotte is the Raw Women's Champion, correct? And they've told us she's about to go to SmackDown. So wouldn't it make sense for Charlotte to not take the Raw Women's Championship to SmackDown? And Bianca, who's wrestling her, can beat Charlotte and keep that championship, keep the Raw Women's Championship on Raw. And build a star, and Charlotte and Becky and Sasha, those three can all afford losses, especially Charlotte. They can afford losses out the ass, and it ain't going to hurt them. Because we already know that Becky, the SmackDown Women's Champion, is coming to Raw. So we're going to have Becky, the SmackDown Women's Championship on Raw, and Charlotte, the Raw Women's Champion on SmackDown. Does that make any sense to you? No, it won't. My only guess, and I was hoping they learned never to do this again. If you remember, I think it was last year, New Day and Street Profits literally traded tag team championship belts. They literally had it backstage. They treated it as a joke. They literally handed each other's belts over to one another and said, okay, I guess that's that. Now we're the champions of Raw, and you're the champions of SmackDown, and vice versa. My guess is they'll do that with Charlotte and Becky. It'll be a little more formal, more of a presentation, probably a long in-ring talky segment of some kind. But they'll do the same thing, just a more grandiose ceremonial version of it is what I think will happen. Because now we're out of freaking ideas. Because of this match, Charlotte Under Flair and Eastern Standard Time have a wonderful match. On 2 or 3 false finishes for Bianca's comeback and her big moves, the people were popping. People were standing. They don't stand anymore for anything. People were standing in the audience like, Bianca's going to win it. They thought Bianca, in a way, because of Charlotte being who Charlotte is, this is as big or maybe bigger than Bianca winning the freaking WrestleMania main event because she beat Sasha. But for Bianca to beat Charlotte, it would be like, oh my God, that's historic. She's going to beat Charlotte clean in the middle. And part of me was thinking, oh yeah, Charlotte might win, but of course it'll be some kind of errant misinterference from Becky and or Sasha or whatever the hell, right? And then Charlotte can be mad at whoever, and then no one ever actually beats anybody ever, so what's the point of any of these matches? But anyway, they must have been down to the wire for time because on Hulu it was basically the credit they faded to black like 10 seconds after that finish. Charlotte wiggles away. She barely kicks out of this finish, that finish, that finish. She gets out of under the ropes, under the ring apron, is the hardest part of the ring. Takes a chair out of nowhere, and you could see Bianca look over to the right, like she was nodding okay to somebody, like somebody was telling her something, or she was looking for something. But Charlotte was right underneath her. There was no reason for Bianca to look to the right otherwise. And Charlotte hits her in the stomach with a chair right in front of the referee. DQ. I am not one of those internet wrestling fans that hates all the DQ finishes and gets really pissed off. I didn't have a problem with it with the Profits and Orton and Riddle, except for the fact that now we have a couple of DQs on the same show would be my only problem. But other than that, it was fine. I don't get mad. Sometimes even on like a less important monthly pay-per-view, if there's a DQ or a non-finish, but something so freaking huge happens that's bigger than the match, then I'm not mad. Because we got something big instead of the finish. In this case, the people were so thrilled for standing for the 1-2, 2 7/8, really getting involved that Bianca's really going to do it. She's going to do it because they didn't think she was going to do it. And she didn't do it. Lost huge opportunity. And I believe, I'm calling it now, I don't care. Very soon, Bianca is not going to have, she got a good reaction coming out up top, Eastern Standard Time. Her reactions are going to die. And it's not because the people like her any less. It's because they figured out that she's never winning the big one anyway. Even though she's won the SmackDown Championship in the main event of WrestleMania. That they ended a WrestleMania night with her on top. They did, but I don't know. There's 2 WrestleMania nights. The whole thing gets watered down. It's like, And her booking afterwards was so blasé. I don't know. She won that. That was a send him home happy WrestleMania match, but it wasn't really them committing to making a star. That was a send him home happy for tonight, and then whatever. And Bayley was awesome in it, but the watering down of Bianca even further, losing to Becky in a few seconds like that, making Bianca look dumb, which is worse than beating her. Your baby faces. Everyone's so obsessed with pinfall this and pinfall that, and tapping out this. No. Don't let your baby faces look stupid. Never let them look stupid. They can get fooled because they're trusting, because they're hopeful, because maybe they're a little naive, especially if they're rookies or they're on that particular program, or they just had faith, which is fine. But don't make them look stupid. Trusting and stupid aren't the same thing. In Vince McMahon's eyes, they probably are, and that's where I think we've lost. If a synthoid on a G.I. Joe Sunbow cartoon comes into and pretends to be Duke, well, are the Joes idiots for being fooled? No, not for the first few minutes. Because as far as they know, Duke walked in and gave them an order, and they went, oh, okay. But after Duke gives the wrong name, just like Optimus Prime did when Megatron had a clone of Optimus Prime, and that Prime clone called Bumblebee Cliffjumper, I believe, or was it vice versa? Either way, that's when the Autobots slowly and understandably started to figure out, okay, now there's a problem. It doesn't make the Autobots dumb or the Joes dumb. It makes them trusting good people. But they still had the brains to figure out there was a problem. They're not doing that with Bianca Belair. They're making her dumb. Dewdrop, they're making her dumb. They made Drew McIntyre dumb for a while, and now they're making Big E dumb. Everybody's dumb. Everyone who's wrestled Roman Reigns has been made to look dumb. Cesaro, Bryan, Finn, Cena. Am I missing anybody? Ray. Everybody's dumb. People don't get behind dumb baby faces. They get behind betrayed baby faces. Baby faces who have had the odds stacked against them, and baby faces who have been scorned for their goodwill. That's a baby face. Because we want to see them fix their problem, because they don't deserve their problem, and they change and become better as they fix the problem. Am I losing my mind? I'm not losing my mind. I'm not a fucking crazy person. So DQ, Charlotte keeps the belt. Charlotte still looks strong. Okay. So why is Bianca? Bianca's definitely going to Raw, but she's in a three-way in Saudi Arabia for the SmackDown Women's. Oh God. And Becky just won it too. So Becky is the winner of that. Does Woods beat Finn Balor? I don't know. They might still pull the rug out from under us and say, fuck you, you're the fans, we hate you. Finn Balor just wins. And we love Finn Balor, but this is like a Woods thing that everyone's behind. Roman and Brock will have a non-finish anyway. Drew and E, I don't know. Goldberg and Lashley, no one wants to see. Oh yeah, there was a Goldberg and Lashley satellite. I fast forwarded, not watching that. Okay. That's Raw. This went long. Okay, the Raw Dogs, that should be their name. If it isn't, I don't know what to tell you. All I can tell you is that on Thursday on the network, I'm not covering it, guys. I'm sorry. It's not right. You know what else isn't right? Let's say you're in a battle royal. And somebody's leaning on the top rope. And you're in the middle of the ring and you charge that guy and you want to clothesline him over the top rope. You know what he does? 9 times out of 100. That's not right. He ducks down, flips you over, you go over the top rope, and before you land with both feet on the floor, dollars to donuts, you're going to bump your ass on the hardest part of the ring. The hardest part of the ring. Ba-da-ba-da.